Welcome back, Divine Trust Babies, to another slideshow. This one is about billing error, so this one's going to be pretty good. It's a process, but definitely it works. I'm in the process of it right now. I'm going through it with several companies. A lot of people are asking me about the 1099 thing, and like I said, it only works for certain companies, so I haven't shared anything about it yet because, to be honest, I have not gotten a whole lot of success from it. So this is what I am currently doing: the billing error process plus the arbitration guide. This information is very good, so have a pen and paper, take notes, and really listen. What is billing error? According to 12 CFR 102613, the term billing error means a reflection on or with a periodic statement of an extension of credit that is not made to the consumer or to a person who has actual, implied, or apparent authority to use the consumer's credit card or open-ended credit plan. Now, this is directly from federal law. Basically, what this is telling us is that anytime that we have something showing on our bill as we owe, basically, which is our bills, our statements that we get, that is an error because we're supposed to have open-ended credit. Our bills are prepaid, and when they send us that bill or statement, the amount that's on there is a positive amount. We are supposed to endorse it, remit the payment, and send it back. But this is stuff that we don't know. We haven't been taught this, so we think that it's a debt that we owe, so we pay it. And in reality, what we're doing when we pay that bill is we're making the national debt go higher. So if that bill was $1,000 and you paid that $1,000, you just put us $2,000 in debt. 15 USC 1666, correction of billing errors. A. Written notice by obligor to creditor. We are the obligor, they are the creditor this time. Time for and contents of notice, procedure upon receipt of notice by creditor. If a creditor, within 60 days after having transmitted to an obligor a statement of the obligor's account in connection with an extension of consumer credit, receives at the address disclosed under Section 1637B 10 of this title a written notice other than notice on a payment stub or other payment medium supplied by the creditor, if the creditor so stipulates, with the disclosure required under Section 1637A 7 of this title, from the obligor, in which the obligor 1. Sets forth or otherwise enables the creditor to identify the name and account number, if any, of the obligor. 2. Indicates the obligor's belief that the statement contains a billing error and the amount of such billing error, and 3. Sets forth the reasons for the obligor's belief to the extent applicable that the statement contains a billing error. The creditor shall, unless the obligor has, after giving such written notice and before the expiration of the time limits herein specified, agreed that the statement was correct, A. Not later than 30 days after the receipt of the notice, send a written acknowledgment thereof to the obligor, unless the action required in subparagraph B is taken within such 30-day period, and B. No later than 2 complete billing cycles of the creditor, in no event later than 90 days after the receipt of the notice and prior to taking any action to collect the amount or any part thereof indicated by the obligor under paragraph 2, either 1 or I make appropriate corrections in the account of the obligor, including the crediting of any finance charges on amounts erroneously billed, which all of our bills are erroneously billed because they're not giving us the instructions on how to properly remit our payments. We are paying a debt with a debt, which is securities fraud, because they're taking from us something that they know how to securitize. So when they get our money or our when they get our floating rate notes, they transfer those to the Treasury Direct and get them securitized, which is where all of their funds for their trust lies. And that's what we're trying to learn how to do. That is what we're working towards. But when we understand that they are getting over on us willingly and knowingly and charging us when all debts are literally prepaid, this is why it's important for us to learn the law so that we can go through the proper processes to live debt-free. I'm going to read the section I over. Make appropriate corrections in the account of the obligor. You are the obligor, including the crediting of any finance charges on amounts erroneously billed. So they would have to credit your account on any finance charges on amounts erroneously billed, which I said everything is erroneously billed, and transmit to the obligor a notification of such corrections, which they would have to send you something letting you know that they corrected it, and the creditor's explanation of any change, when they would have to explain to you the changes in the amount indicated by the obligor, which is you, under paragraph 2, and if any such change is made and the obligor so requests, copies of documentary evidence of the obligor's indebtedness, or send a written explanation or clarification to the obligor after having conducted an investigation, setting forth to the extent applicable the reasons why the creditor believes the account of the obligor was correctly shown in the statement, and upon request of the obligor, provide copies of documentary evidence of the obligor's indebtedness. In the case of a billing error where the obligor alleges that the creditor's billing statement reflects goods not delivered, mailed or otherwise sent to the obligor, and provides the obligor with a statement of such determination, after complying with the provisions of this subsection with respect to an alleged billing error, a creditor has no further responsibility under this section if the obligor continues to make substantially the same allegation with respect to such error. So even if the creditor was a stand-up guy, which they're not, and they followed all of those things that they said they would have to do, and you still, as the obligor, say that is billing error, there's nothing else that the creditor can do but what's happening in section B, billing error. For the purpose of this section, a billing error consists of any of the following. 1, a reflection of a statement of an extension of credit which was not made to the obligor, or, if made, was not in the amount reflected on such statement. A reflection on a statement of an extension of credit for which the obligor requests additional clarification, including documentary evidence thereof. A reflection of a statement of goods or services not accepted by the obligor or his designee, or not delivered to the obligor or his designee in accordance with the agreement made at the time of a transaction. The creditor's failure to reflect properly on a statement, a payment made by the obligor, or a credit issued to the obligor. A computation error or similar error of an accounting nature of the creditor on a statement. Failure to transmit the statement required under Section 1637B of this title to the last address of the obligor, which has been disclosed to the creditor, unless that address was furnished less than 20 days before the end of the billing cycle for which the statement is required. And 7, any other error described in regulations of the Bureau. C, action by creditor to collect amount or any part thereof regarding by obligor to be a billing error. For the purposes of this section, action to collect the amount or any part thereof indicated by an obligor under paragraph 2 does not include the sending of statements of account, which may include finance charges on amounts in dispute, to the obligor following written notice from the obligor as specified under subsection A, if 1, the obligor's account is not restricted or closed of the failure of the obligor to pay the amount indicated under paragraph 2 of subsection A, and 2, the creditor indicates the payment of such amount is not required pending the creditor's compliance with this section. Nothing in this section shall be construed to prohibit any action by a creditor to collect any amount which has not been indicated by the obligor to contain a billing error. D, restricting or closing by creditor of account regarded by obligor to contain a billing error. Pursuant to regulations of the Bureau, a creditor operating an open-end consumer credit plan may not, prior to the sending of the written explanation or clarification required under paragraph B, subsection 2, restrict or close any account with respect to which the obligor has indicated pursuant to subsection A that he believes such account to contain a billing error solely because of the obligor's failure to pay the amount indicated to be in error. Nothing in this subsection shall be deemed to prohibit a creditor from applying against the credit limit on the obligor's account the amount indicated to be in error. So basically what that says is once you submit your billing error claim or notice to these companies, they cannot collect or disturb or cut off or disconnect or close any of those accounts that are in that investigation. They have to immediately credit the account for the amount that is supposedly due while in the process of investigation of the billing error, which means that you'll have open-ended credit. E. Effect of non-compliance with requirements by creditor. Any creditor who fails to comply with the requirements of this section or section 1666A of this title forfeits any right to collect from the obligor the amount indicated by the obligator under paragraph 2 of subsection A of this section, and any finance charged thereon, except that the amount required to be forfeited under this subsection may not exceed $50. So basically, what it's saying that is if any of these companies do not comply with the guidelines of billing error, and they cut your services off, or they continue to send you a bill, or any of that, it automatically throws that owed amount out the window, and it goes in your favor. Now, what I'm going to be showing you is the process of how to get everything that you need to create the paper trail to get the remedy that you want. How to billing error process. Now, keep in mind that all forms and letters must be sent via registered mail or certified mail with a green return card. I uploaded the labels for free mail, and I just learned that those labels were best for registered mail, which registered mail is actually the best to send because it's on the record and you are invoking the Postmaster General, which is perfect. And you always get proof of those mailings being sent off. You always get a registered mail slip. Tip: the registered mail slip or green return card is your proof. Get all forms notarized and make copies for your record/proof. Before starting this process, you must request that the company provides the validity of the debt. This is the first step in building your case. Evidence is what wins in arbitration/court. You want the company to hang themselves by sending back a bogus letter saying they validated the debt, which is illegal. Billing error process. Sending this directly to the company is much more effective than sending the validation letter to the credit reporting agencies. Or, for more solid proof, you may send a letter to both the company and the credit reporting agencies. Now, you would only send a letter to the credit reporting agencies if this is an account with a company that is reporting to your credit report. If it's not, then you do not have to send a letter to the credit reporting agencies. Only send a letter to the companies that you are sending the billing error notice to, or starting this process with, should I say. On the back of your monthly statement/bill, there is an address for errors on your bill. Turn your bill over, read through the fine print on the back, and in bold you will see an address where it says errors, or you notice anything on your bill, send your disputes to this address. That is the address that we are going to be sending the first packet off to. If you are signed up for e-billing, you will not know this, so please change your bills to paper bills to have this address, because the address is only on the paper bill on the back of it. You cannot locate it online with an online portal. Your monthly paper statement bill is the money that the creditor sends us for us to remit. We are supposed to in turn endorse the statement/bill and turn it into the money order it actually is. So the first packet, you must draft a billing error notice, Now, all of the things that I'm telling you to draft up, I have put on Patreon. I have put links. They are not downloadable, so you cannot download these files. These files are only for you to use as a reference so that you can draft your own letters. We are not using templates anymore. We have to learn how to do things ourselves because templates, when overused, do not have the same power as if you wrote something originally from the top of your brain. So these templates are just examples so that you guys can know how to draft your letters when you go through this process. I don't sell letters, so please don't ask. I draft all of my stuff off the top of my head. So let's go back. You must draft a billing error notice and mail it registered or certified to the address on the back of your bill, along with an affidavit of truth, cease and desist with special conditions, and the endorsed remittance coupon, along with a copy of the laws that they have violated. The second packet you will mail to the CEO of the company, and you must include the billing error notice, which will be addressed to the CEO of the company. And you're not going to use the one that you sent to the company prior. You're going to use a different one. You can use the same verbiage, the same exact one, but you're going to address it to the CEO instead of it being addressed to the company. I hope that makes sense. You must include the billing error notice, a new one addressed to the CEO of the company, affidavit of truth, cease and desist with special conditions, conditional acceptance, and the cease and desist with special conditions also goes with that. The endorsed remittance coupon, a copy of the laws, and evidence, which would be a copy of the letter that the company sent you as proof of validation of debt. So once you receive that validation of debt letter back that the company sends you, you're going to put that into this second packet that's being sent to the CEO of the company. A copy of it, not the original. You want to have copies of everything. You want to notarize everything that needs to be notarized. You want to make sure that you have everything that you need proof-wise so that when you go to arbitration, it goes in your favor. On the affidavit of truth, cease and desist with special conditions, you are stating your truth, which is your claim. Be sure to identify who you are and who they are, which means who is the debtor and who's the creditor. They are the creditor, you are the debtor, or obligor, as I was saying. In this case, you are the obligor. Describe what their requirements as a creditor are or were. Explain why and how they violated the law, the codes, laws they violated, and back up your claim. So when you use those codes and those laws that they violated, that backs up your claim and it makes it more solid. The conditional acceptance / cease and desist with special conditions is your new contract. So literally you will be drafting out what you want from the company and what you want them to do. So for instance, in my case, I said I wanted open-ended credit. I do not want my cards to be cut off. I want every card that was closed, every account that was closed to be reopened. And I want to have an unlimited spending limit. These are things that you want. You're creating your own contract at this point. Don't forget to add the codes and laws that back up your conditions. So there are codes and laws that back up what you want. You just have to go do your due diligence. It's too many to put here in this video. The creditor has two options to accept or not to. The cease and desist should always state, do not contact me unless ... So you're basically telling them, you're giving them the only time they can contact you, because you definitely do still want the company to contact you for remedy purposes or whatever the case may be. Because if you tell the company to cease and desist without the special conditions, the creditor will be smart asses and they won't contact you at all. But you still do want to keep the line of communication open during this process. You just don't want them calling you for collections and all other things of that nature. So be sure to put that in your cease and desist with special conditions. They are the special conditions. Your third packet is going to be mailed to the registered agent of the company, and you must include a billing error notice, which is another one aside from the first two, affidavit of truth with a cease and desist with special conditions attached, a conditional acceptance with a cease and desist with special conditions attached, the laws violated, again to back your claim, and evidence from the previous interactions with the company. This is the first round packet. You will only deal with customer service from the company one time, which would be the billing error notice sent with the other documents. So that's the first thing that you sent off. And then when that the customer service representatives or whoever sends those letters out sends you back the bogus debt validation letter. That's the one time that you'll be dealing with them. After that, you will only deal with the CEO and registered agent of the company. You can Google search the registered agent and the CEO of any company, but double check your info to be sure you have located the correct person, because you do not want to waste your time mailing stuff off to the incorrect person and your mail being returned to sender and all of that kind of stuff. This is just a lot of time and energy wasted when you could have just did a simple double check by cross-referencing on different websites to make sure you have the correct information on the registered agent and CEO of the specified company. So the billing error process, this is a second round packet. The second round packet is an opportunity to cure. This letter is letting the company know to remedy the issue, or else. You are giving them an opportunity to make things right. So you would give the company 15 days to respond. In your letter to cure, you should be requesting the following: documentary evidence. Documentary evidence includes all documents, papers, correspondence, books of accounts, and financial and corporate records. This stuff is things that you have the right to request. And I'm going to tell you right now, the company is not going to allow you to see these things, because this is where all the truth lies. This is where you'll be able to see how much money these companies are siphoning from your bond. Billing error process. This is the third round packet. If the creditor refuses this, you only do this process if you get to a point of them refusing or them not remedying it after the second round packet. So this is the following steps to take if you have to. Everyone will not have to go this far, but with some companies you do. If the creditor refuses to remedy the violations, they now owe reason. Oh, Scott, I don't know what I just put. That's a typo. They now owe you a reason for their default. So if it were the other way around, they would provide you with a notice of default in a heartbeat. So if you were in default with the bank would not waste any time drafting up a notice of default and mailing it to you and letting you know that you are in default and you owe them. So why should we not do this to them? It is your turn to turn the tables and do them how they would do you if they had opportunity. These companies knowingly and willingly break federal laws all the time because we fail to hold them accountable. At this point in the process, you are stating your demands and how much money they owe you for the inconvenience they have caused you. This process. Be sure to inform them that they have 15 days to respond with your bill of particulars, and you may also send out a pre-filled arbitration letter letting them know you mean business. You can Google bill of particulars for your state, as you can see in the example below, and it should pop up. This will formally request certain information from the company. Look up your state. The form needed for arbitration should be available. If you cannot locate the form, you must draft your own. So I'm going to tell you right now, everybody is not going to be able to find a form for the bill of particulars or a pre-filled arbitration letter. So you guys definitely have to do your due diligence when it comes to this. I have provided you with links for everything on Patreon, but there are things that I cannot provide you with because they are tailored for whatever state you live in, and that is those forms that are listed here. You have to go do your due diligence and find those. I tried to make this process as easy as possible, but I can't provide you with everything. What is a demand for a bill of particulars? The demand for a bill of particulars presumes that the plaintiff suing has a book or contemporaneous ledger or an account to support any charges when the complaint was filed and provides a court process to require that it be presented upon demand. So it's basically you asking them for the ledger. I want to see the ledger because the ledger has, like I said, the truth. This article is a demand for a bill of particulars, which is telling you how powerful of a tool it is. I have also added that to the Patreon links for you guys to go and look over. I highly suggest you go read this. It's going to help connect more dots when it comes to this process. For the sake of time, I am not going to read through the entire thing, but I will read the first paragraph, which says, what discovery methods do you consider when you are strategizing about the most effective method to obtain the information you need to pin down your opponent? If you are defending a contract case, think about serving a demand for bill of particulars. A demand for bill of particulars is not a discovery device, but an extension of the complaint or a cross-complaint. It is a cost-effective method with a turnaround time of 10 days, and if the court finds that any of the line items are deficient, it can strike the entry and preclude plaintiff from proving the debt is owed. Unlike interrogatories and disposition responses where contradictory evidence can be admitted by the plaintiff, the bill of particulars is conclusive as to the items and amounts claimed, and no other evidence is admissible at trial. So this is an important tool, and just from that little bit that I read to you, you can imagine what the rest of the article says and why you should know this. Please read through the previous article in full. That article and templates of all letters for reference purposes only are uploaded to Patreon. Go download the files on Patreon located under the label Billing Error. Be sure to Google your state's bill of particulars. Like I said, that is something that you have to do on your own because it varies with your state. Arbitration options. Now, please understand that arbitration is the end-all be-all. So whatever decision is made in arbitration is final. There is no more going back and forth with the companies, and the outcome depends upon your evidence and knowledge. So please do not file for arbitration if you are not confident with your own personal knowledge on this topic. You may file arbitration on the following sites: American Arbitration Association at adr.org. When I last checked their website, I don't know if it was under maintenance or whatever, but it was not up. It was not working when I clicked the link. So maybe it'll be working by the time you guys try it. But the other website is jamsadr.com. Now, just because you file arbitration does not mean it's just something that's simple. It is rules to arbitration as it is rules to everything in life. So you must do a pre-arbitration letter. As I said before in the previous slides, that you can mail the pre-arbitration letter, the pre-filled arbitration letter off with the evidence on the third round. Please fully understand this process because this is your money. So follow the rules of arbitration to avoid delays or mistakes. Act in confidence and knowledge, not fear and second guessing. I do not have this form on Patreon because you still had to do some work. So that is also a form that I left for you to locate for your specific state. A demand for arbitration form must be filled out to start the arbitration process to recoup owed funds. This step should only be taken if the companies play hardball and continue to violate your consumer rights after mailing the third packet. Serve the CEO and registered agent of the company and collect your owed funds. If the case is correctly compiled, everything will work out in your favor. So please remember, it is all about evidence and what you are actually able to prove. This is the reason why I said to mail everything registered over certified, because registered mail invokes the Postmaster General, which holds a hell of a lot more power than sending off certified mail with a green return card. You are using a whole nother game piece. And for those of you who haven't looked into the postal treaty, the UPU treaty, I have a slideshow on Patreon. You guys need to go look and check that out because the post office has lots of power, and the way that we utilize stamps in the post office gives us just as much power. So it's good to have that knowledge. Remember, you will be in contact with attorneys once you begin the arbitration process. On both ends, correct? Most people will say yes, others will say they don't give us permission to record and hang up. And never be afraid. Stand your ground. Handle it like a business would. Keep your cool and remember to know your shit. Know what it is that you want to be the outcome for you executing this process. Remember, operate in commerce and defer all payments. This is how you live a debt-free life with no bills or payments. Keep in mind, all the laws that the companies have violated are not detailed in the slideshow. You must study the law and know what applies to your specific case. And with that being said, that is the process of how to execute billing error so that your bills can go in do not pay, do not collect status, and so that you can be well on your way and recouping all of the old funds and have your bills be put in an open-end credit plan where your bills you never are charged for your bills. They're always zeroed out, which we'll be reading the 0% on Sunday study session. So please, if you haven't, go look on Patreon and get that book downloaded because we'll be doing a study session reading that book together. And I'll also be sharing more information in reference to billing error. So I really look forward to you guys showing up Sunday, this Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for our study session where we'll be going over the 0%.